What kind of herbs is this that you're collecting, Caleb?
Oh, it's the smoky ones. You Yeah, you go kill Bambi. No, Bambi's mom actually, right? And then you prep all the herbs and then you soak all her meats. Yes, the herbs, not herbs. The herbs. There's an H in herbs, and and then you just barbecue her to perfection, and then you nom her.
You got
Eric, you're muted.
Of course, I'm muted. If I don't do something wrong with the sound system every week, people wouldn't know what show they're watching. I mean, okay.
I mean,
So
yeah.
Made a mistake. Of course, we got quota. I mean, we got to do stuff.
We're failing upwards.
Failing upwards. Look. There he goes. Vast thought we didn't have a mistake. Yeah, up there. So I'm reading down the thing. By the way, Bubblegum.
I mean, we almost didn't.
Bubblegum, Ripan, and Huzu. Thank you for the follows. Much appreciated. We love it here on Imperium News. We're the one news show with no news, right? So, talking about herbs and Bambi and smoking. Banafrog, thank you for the follow.
Any plans to talk about Eve today?
Oh.
What is Eve?
Yeah. By the way, did you like in Terminal Lock? Man, everybody, huge number of people here. Did I get everybody? Banafrog, Terminal Lock, Rodolfo fan. Okay, good. Did you guys like the vacation? Like we're coming home from vacation, right? We're coming home. So we can't wait. Candle Falcon, thank you. I'm excited. I'm excited for Eve again. Caleb knows because Riv was already harassing me because I started writing words again, putting letters together on Imperial News for a new article.
Attempts at journalism failing downwards.
I am not a journalist. I'm an animal. No.
No, you're good at ranting. You're good at ranting. Your rants are generally entertaining.
I'm not ranting though. This is not a ranting article. This is not a ranting article. But did you guys like the? I have to ask the audience. Did you guys like the? Nobody cares what CCP does at all with this game. All we care about is nullsec wars because that's all that gets any news anyway, right? Thoughts, comments,
injections. Well. Seriously, I think people know that my opinion of Eve is that it's only really the PvP. It's not only shooting people in the face, it's also being very nice and collaborating with other people. But it's only the PvP that matters in Eve. Yeah. Everything else is fucking backdrop. And people that say otherwise, fine, let them sit there and twiddle their thumbs by themselves, not understanding what the simulation is about. That's fine. It's their prerogative to play the game the way they want. It's just they are still part of everything else. So you can be asocial in your fucking basement and think that is the game, but it's not.
Caleb, did you completely miss the memo not to go on a demonetization crusade today?
I haven't mentioned anything pornographic at all.
God's sake.
Unlike Riv in staff chat this morning, right? Making all kind of terrible what she did. Teodor E missed nothing except, technical screw up already. So, So welcome to everybody in the audience. To those who have been away from Eve for a while, welcome back. War always brings out the best in all of us, I'd like to say. See, Teodor rejoins GFS for the war. See, that's what's happening. What's always interesting is, I like to look at Eve Who, and I like to sit there and say, okay, who's warring against who, and then watch their numbers drop, right? And it's kind of funny. And then, so I'm watching Eve Who for, Goon Swarm numbers and watching them rise, right? Watchmo, thank you.
You know what? I haven't actually checked this. I'll do it for Dotlan.
We've gone up, I think, every week for the last couple weeks. So, yeah. So, it's always interesting. Detoxicant, thank you. It's always super. I mean, this is what makes it fun. I get it. I had a lot of friends. They like to mine. Like to pop a few beers on the weekend or during the week. Teodor and don't accidentally join MyCorp. Actually, you could, because then you get to hang out with Apple Pair now, and obviously Burgos too.
Oh God! So you did notice?
I noticed a while ago. I saw you in Discord. Yeah. It's not like oh, look at you. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, Pend has merged with Hogoku. Because it's just too much to do. I got too much going on. So a lot of people do think that this is going to be a ruse. What do you think, Caleb?
No, I think I need to comment on McNair's awesome thing in chat.
Okay.
He says, I actually honestly hope Daddy Mittens will apply some serious fatherly methods to instill some discipline. And I was just going to ask McLeod, isn't that what the paddle is for?
I believe that's what the commissar is for.
No. Commissaring is for cleaning out fat and stupidity. The paddle is for discipline, well, and other types of entertainment. Okay, to all the people that are
there's a lot in there, and most of it has to do with demonetization. I'm just telling you.
Hey, Twitch got fucking Sasha Grey as a streamer, so they can demonetize all they want.
Yes, but certain other streamers got banned yesterday.
Yeah, well,
I don't want us causing that for this channel.
Well, Twitch can now ban people because what is it? The Microsoft version shut down, right?
Oh, Mixer.
Mixer.
Oh, and merged with Facebook Gaming. Sorry, I'm just going to go be sick in
the now. Tiebreak just subscribed for 23 months in a row. What did you do? What did Caleb just do?
I didn't do anything.
Why you turned your video off?
No.
It's off.
It's showing off.
Yeah.
Hold on. Has it moved Dirk into his place or something?
No. It's just he turned it off. So so Caleb. By the way, people. Oh, look at that! 68 months for Carneros.
Caleb,
Carneros, you're one of my favorite Eve people of all time.
Caleb, you're experiencing what I was experiencing when I went mental.
What happened?
The camera keeps turning off in Skype.
One.
Yeah. So everybody, just so you know, Caleb begged me to use Skype video, or not Skype video, but Discord video rather than Skype video that has a really nice NDI feed, right? So I went along with it, and of course now this happens, right? No Caleb.
Oh, he's using Discord. Then fair enough. I thought he was having the same issue on Skype that I had like that one time.
And by the way, Riv's like, what the hell is Caleb talking about? We don't really know, Riv. We're not sure.
There we go. Caleb's back.
Yeah. Oh, look who it is, Caleb.
Oh, and it looks like I lured McNair to check out Sasha Gray's stream. It's a good stream. Great stream.
So yes, did I get tiebreak? Yes, tiebreak and Carneros both 23 and 68 months respectively. Fantastic. So we're ready for war. And so again, I'll ask the panel here, who Dirk has now joined us. We got McLeod and we've got Bargos and obviously Caleb. What is the percentage chance that you guys think that this is just a ruse and they're not really coming? I'll start with you, Caleb.
Well, if they don't, they're going to be teased for the next many years of stupid, boring peace.
So this is a percent chance it's a ruse, right? So, Dirk. Oh, his mic's off. Let's go to you, McLeod.
I mean, what do they gain if it's a ruse? Like literally fucking nothing. All they're gonna do is they're gonna lose rep, if anything.
Did they really?
So as far as I'm
easier access to Cloud Ring? I don't know what I mean. Okay, so Carneros goes with the 20% chance they get cold feet.
Dirk has put in Discord
I don't believe
that it's 30% that they don't commit.
Okay. So we have Anthron with 100%, 90%, 89%, Screaming CC. I'm going with 100%. This is not a ruse.
So the question I find is, does Tess think that they're a more powerful entity than they were on the first Fountain War? And if so, then maybe it might be a case of, they think that they that they can commit and be okay. But then again, you also have to think to yourself, is Goonswarm more powerful now than they were at the start of the Fountain War? Because that's the other part of the equation, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's. But that's just like a, Goonswarm versus Tess kind of war, right? Like this isn't including, all the other kind of people coming in. Like, I mean, even if it's a Legacy versus Imperium war, right? Like, you still have missing parts of the equation, which is, well, which side are NCPL going to land on? Which, I mean, I think everyone knows which side NCPL is going to land on, and then who's gonna come in after that? Like, and then where are they going to land? And so the question kind of becomes: can Imperium handle a two-front war? And I think we can.
Well, at least the Imperium is extremely asset fat, like borderline obese.
Yeah, you have to understand that, like, we don't have a terrible. Well, I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say we didn't have that. All of our supers were terrible before, but like, we've got a shit ton. Like, there's a reason why, NCPL just went, nope, we're getting out of this, when we dropped 1,000 Titans on them.
Yeah. So.
And remember where remember where all of Darkness went to.
Thank you. Yeah, I gotta say thank you for the follow from Creeping Dingleberries. There goes the big guy again. No video.
Yeah.
It came back.
We're never gonna use this again. So, but think about it, right? Think about this, right? So, is somebody in the other coalition just kind of going along with this? And getting everybody else to commit and then gonna flip on them?
I mean, that's kind of what I was going to say, Eric, right? I was going to say, I agree.
By the way, we're completely hypothesizing because we have no access to any super secret information here. I just want to preface that, right? Nobody has security clearance, okay? We're just making shit up. So, and hypothesizing. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So, like, it's like Chimera said, right? He doesn't see this being a ruse, but they might not commit to it. I don't remember his exact words, so I apologize if I completely butchered that, Canaris. But it might be that they just don't follow through for, I guess, any number of reasons. And I was kind of thinking that the other day after having watched Us, then Meta Show, and then seen the propaganda in the week. It's like,
yeah,
there's a point where maybe we spin it so hard that they decide we don't want to try this.
Well, I just want to point out, as somebody who's in the middle of writing an article on this, when you look at the post that Villy threw up on the test forums, and when you look at the message that he sent to the Imperium, in both of those, he suggests that, that there will be a reason for the Imperium to want to fortify up. So, like, in the message he sent to the Imperium diplomats, he said, as a gesture of good faith and the friendship that we've had for these last few years, we'll give you 2 weeks to, fortify your borders and do anything that you think that you need to do. And then in his post on the test forums, on the Legacy forums, he specifically says that he expects that they will be reacquiring regions that have been denied to them for the past few years. And there's only so many ways that you can interpret that whole statement in and of itself anyway. But then you start seeing things like Villy and pro-God on Talking in Stations. And Villy's, talking about how he expects us to go for him. And, we're not even a week. Well, we're roughly about a week after this all happening, right? After these things being said to one another, these things, coming to light and becoming public. So in the space of a week, Villy's gone from kind of trying to hype his guys for reclaiming areas, cancelling a non-invasion pact, just in case anybody in the audience had missed that. This was just a non-invasion pact. It didn't mean that we couldn't fight one another. It didn't mean that we couldn't throw Titans at one another if we wanted to. But, there are certain parts of this that, if you start throwing massive amounts of Titans around, people expect that you're doing something serious. So, that... But you could still have some fun, troll people around with a few Titans and just, go, if we lose them, fuck it. There is only one reason that I can think of that anybody would ever cancel a non-invasion pact with another organization.
Okay, Dirk. Knowing little bits that I know about stuff that is said in the NIP, because I saw it when I was on the Legacy side, there are parts of it that I could see that they want to cancel it over, but that would be our way to them. Or maybe they want to put some stuff and mess around in Delve.
I mean...
What you don't put into your message will give you time to fortify your borders if it's hey, we're going to maybe chuck some structures down and just use it to have fleets and maybe dunk on you a few times.
I mean, I'm curious. I've been in CD, the Imperium's diplomatic apparatus, for a long time now. I was in CD when we were talking about the Legacy NIP being written out and drafted. So, the stuff that's in that NIP isn't exactly groundbreaking. It's, hey, don't come and hit our Sov. Don't come and hit the structures in our Sov. And it's specifically in our Sov, and, we're talking about 4 regions here of a NIP. Period Basis, Quirius, Fountain, and Delve. And then a single system in Iridia, which is an entrance to Delve. And then Legacy have Esoteria, Catch, Impasse, Paragon Soul, Faithabilis, Omist, Constellations in Stain, and the western half of Immensia. That we just agreed, hey, we won't touch these. We don't want to be here. We don't care.
What do you mean the western half of Immensia?
Well, that's the definition of in the NIP. That's
okay. So that bit didn't get updated. Okay, that's fair. I was going to say because they own all of Immensia now.
Well, that's the version from the Goonswarm forums, and if they own all of Immensia and wanted us to stay away from all of Immensia, we probably would have been happy to work with them on that. So, if they're coming to us and saying that they don't think the NIP is working for them, and they want to cancel it. That's fair enough, their prerogative. We'll kind of just go, you know what? You want to cancel the NIP? Sure, let's see where things go. Because everyone's getting a bit bored now. But the only reason I could think of that you would ever cancel a NIP with an entity is if you were planning on invading them. So
maybe they feel that certain aspects of the NIP are just basically null and void, so why even have it?
I mean, that's a fair point, but which aspects of the NIP are null and void? Is it the Cloaky camping section that they don't want anymore? Is it the...
Well, I mean, I was going to say, obviously Villy has said, in shows in the past that, clearly certain aspects of the NIP are basically null and void in his eyes, so why even have it? But, then again, it's turnaround's fair play. They've been breaking certain aspects of the NIP as well, whether that's because an entity of the Imperium did it previously, and so they thought, oh, okay, it's broken, so we might as well break it as well. I don't know, but it's one of those things where I think maybe they think it's null and void, so why even have it?
That's fair enough. You can't then say
sorry.
You can't then say when you're announcing this to your line, hey, we're going to be taking back areas denied to us, and not expect us to like go, okay, well, the only nip that they've had recently was with us. The only areas that have been agreed to be denied to them are ours. It's a logical process.
Yeah.
But to then
Can I
have
ask
Billy
something?
spinning that he thinks we're going to come for them and expect us to go for them, you know,
I mean,
just
yeah,
outright.
the only way this is going is that they come for us.
Can I ask you a question, though?
Absolutely, of course.
Well, of course, it might border on OPSEC, but did Willie actually mention anything about the HiSec stuff in his writings? What's going to happen to? Is it going to be time to buzz the tower?
What I'm going to say is that the message that he posted on the Legacy forums is basically the entirety of his message to the Goonswarm diplomats, basically requesting that the NIP ends. I'm not going to comment on any conversations that may have happened following that about the Tranquility Trading Tower or any of the TTC assets, but our original treaty, the treaty that us and the Imperium and Legacy and Pandemic Horde all signed up to, was that we would all have that as a profit-sharing market, and none of the basically none of the HiSec aspects of our relationships would be impacted by any nullsec situation. Now, I'm not stupid enough to think that if things become advantageous for one side to try and push any of the others out, they wouldn't potentially try it. But you know, it's been designed so that as long as we're all happy with the way the HiSec aspects are running, we will leave that out of any of our nullsec conflicts. So maybe somebody comes for the tower, maybe there's some internal shenanigans that get attempted, but I'm not gonna like suggest that I anticipate that in the next couple of weeks at the very least.
So, as far as is concerned, it's not even part of this.
It's staying as it is, and these things, you know, yeah, that's just how it's going to be for the minute. But of course, these things change on a moment's notice when you get in the middle of a major war. Especially, you know, we've never seen a significant war in EVE Online since the foundation of the profit sharing kind of situation. So,
hey, I just want to, because I'm laughing hysterically here at Creeping Dingleberries, right? So I'm sitting here going, yeah, we know it's been announced that you're coming, but did you move yet? I mean,
you gave us 2 weeks warning to the fact.
I mean,
you were
who the
moving.
fuck gives anybody 2 weeks warning that we're coming to get you? Because it's the whole surprise attack.
Also,
that is.
I challenge you to a duel.
I mean, when our when our entire super fleet was somewhere else, you know, you could have attacked Delve and maybe, you know, done some things, you know.
Caught us off guard, maybe.
But
I mean, it wouldn't have been
everybody
perfectly
comes
off guard,
home. And do you actually know, Creeping Dingleberries, how long? Let's say we don't fight. Let's just say we turtle up and we don't even defend anything. Do you know how long it's going to take you to burn through Delve all by itself? I mean, you don't understand, I don't think. But I mean, not that I care. I want Tess to come. I want them all to come. I want the fight to happen. Because here's what's going to happen. They're all going to. It happens everywhere, right? They all deploy. They all start blowing some stuff up. And then, of course, we have some people who are bored who go out there with 20 people and start burning their solve down. And then they go, holy shit, maybe we better look at our own solve. And, you know, we burn it all down.
I mean,
yeah, and
never happens.
If you don't want, if PGL doesn't want to backstab, that's a bit late. Like, he's a bit late to the party on that one. You know, considering that, you know, what happened with World War B and what also happened pretty much what was so on the knife edge with happening in Kamal. So
By the
you
way,
know, that argument holds zero water.
I'm still mad that the whole war to take Delve happened when I was on vacation last year, and now this son of a bitch is going to start a week after week before I go on vacation this year, and I'm just sitting there going, all right, you know, I have a bigger car this year. Maybe I can take the whole rig, or maybe I just get a new rig delivered there and bring it home. I don't know. I don't need the sun and the beach. I can just stay inside and blow up puppies. That could be fun.
Laptop?
So yeah, laptop. No.
I mean, you could always hook it up to some more monitors, but still, bit of a pain.
Yeah, I have a laptop I could take, but
But yeah, I mean, even if it had been announced, I haven't seen any announcements. I don't personally operate any spy alts because I'm a diplomat. That's not what I do. But, even if it had been announced and even if I had seen it, wonderful, you're deploying to Quarius. It's almost as if there are only 3 major ways to get to Delve, and you're not going to take at least one of them.
Which is the one that you think they won't take?
Period basis.
Yeah,
That's a dumb jump to take.
They're also not going to take Fountain into Delve because of that regional gate.
It's always Quarius through to Delve. Like that's been the way that people conquer Delve for the longest of times.
Well,
like literally go back and look at all the times that Delve has been taken, and there's always been a case of like Delve has been taken from Quarius in some way, shape, or form. Every time that someone's tried to go through Iridia, they've fucking been cock blocked. Every single time that someone's tried to go through Period Basis, they've been cock blocked. It's always been through Quarius. And thinking that Goon strategic leadership would be completely oblivious to that fact is like, I mean, you'd be living in Cloud Cuckoo land if you genuinely think that.
Well,
Fountain will be Pan-Fam territory soon enough anyway. I mean, fair play, if Pan-Fam can actually summon up the effort to move from the Far East, fair enough.
And not backstab test in the process.
They've got to come and take it. Realistically, that's the thing. If you want to try and put us on 2 fronts, that's fine. We call Quarius and Fountain floodplain regions for a reason. Let's have some fun, boys.
What? It's swampland.
Yeah.
By the way, okay, all these things aside, so question to the crowd. When and where, if this is actually going to happen, what is going to be the actual practical thing? When are we going to see this? When are they going to hit, and where are they going to hit? What's people's guesses?
I actually think they're going to hit on July 4th.
Jesus, this creeping Dingleberries guy, I can't keep reacting to that because
he's funny.
He's baiting you all the time, man. He's baiting you all the time.
He's just reaching further and further, and it's like, come on, dude.
Creeping Dingleberries. It's not about a nit dying. It's not about a nit dying, right? It's about.
I mean,
it's let's put it away. This is the way FozzieSov is designed, right? You cocoon into the area that you need to cocoon into. And then when everybody gets tired of dealing with all the FozzieSov and everything else they got to deal with, eventually they run out of ISK. Eventually they run out of, desire to do something. And you just flood back out and take it all back. Because there's no reason to hold it all.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing with what I said a minute ago.
If all these people come into Delve, guess what they're not defending? And guess what? It's really, really, really easy solve. It's really easy to take with just a few people in undefended areas. Okay, you've never had the stamina before, Creeping Dingleberries.
Test have the stamina to fight a real war.
You know what? Hold it. They've been taken. What are those? You guys see the commercial for the testosterone pills that you can get at Walmart or whatever? Like they're the greatest thing, make you a man again and everything. That must be what Test is on. Villy bought everybody a lifetime supply.
All I'm saying is,
Test might be able to fight a war, but I'll tell you now, I know significant numbers of legacy alliances will collapse within the first 2 months.
Hey.
I'm just gonna say, right?
Coming from someone who was formerly in a Legacy Alliance in a senior leadership position.
Ageless Veil, that's it.
And you also have to understand that in it is probably the only that is. I wouldn't say it's the only alliance, but it's like probably the one alliance in the Imperium that actually likes fighting outnumbered. We enjoy that shit. Like that's the stuff that we excel at. Like this is the reason why. We've got fucking videos of us going up against 5-1 odds and going instead of blue balling because it's 5-1 odds, going, oh, it's 5-1 odds. That's better than some of the odds that we've had. Let's go.
Always outnumbered, never outgunned. Isn't that
exactly?
I mean, I bet you Pando's there rubbing his hands, thinking what crazy ass doctrine he can come up with next.
Think about this. There was everybody, including the developer CCP, against goons in the Casino War. Okay? The goons lost all their territory. Okay? And they were in one little low-sec place. And they sat there and they waited and they did their thing. Okay? Any other alliance in the history of Eve would have failed cascaded.
Well, that's not strictly true.
Well, pretty much.
Like, Brave have done that a couple of times and lasted quite well.
But did they come out of it as strong as we did?
I mean, we had a lot more strength going into it than Brave has ever had when they've kind of hit those hard times.
We weren't dumb, right?
So
yeah, I mean, and then
these things do happen
than ever in the end, right? So
we can't claim that we are the only people to ever have done it. That's just like a bit too much hubris for my liking.
Only people who ever really done it to the scale that we've done it. I'm going with that. I'm going big.
A number of alliances have been taken from their space, kicked into low-sec, and come back alive.
Yeah.
But
worked out pretty well for CO2. Sorry.
I'm just going to point out real quick that we're talking about Legacy as a strong alliance. Legacy having a lot of sheer military strength, and they do. They've got a hell of a decent Titan fleet. They have been honing their military for years. This is also very true. That there's been very few periods where Legacy hasn't been, or at the very least, Test hasn't been deployed somewhere doing something. So they've put the effort in, and we'll see how that plays out. But just to go back to Eric's point about how exposed they're going to be behind the lines. When everyone came after the Imperium in the Casino War, the Imperium owned about a third of the map.
Mm-hmm.
It was all the way from Fade and Pureblind, all the way around into Tenal, Tribute, Vale. There was a hell of a lot of Sov that was owned in the north. That a lot of it that didn't have the sheer player mass to be defensible under FozzieSov.
Right.
And I think as much as Legacy has a lot of different alliances in a lot of places, I think they may have overestimated their ability to defend all of their space. Because as we've already pointed out, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, are they into Detorid at the minute? Are they over there?
Fire are in Detorid.
Okay, so the old Russians are in Detorid. Yeah, so an ally to Legacy are in Detorid. This is a hell of a lot of space that is just going to be. I would never count Fire and Army of Mango as legacy alliances. They're not. They are very much their own thing. Fire itself is a coalition of Russian alliances more than a legacy associated group. It just happens to have worked with Legacy a lot in recent years. and Army of Mango appear to have been growing and getting a bit stronger. So,
Yeah,
you know,
officially on the Sov map, their legacy, but I didn't hear an announcement saying they were.
I
No,
think
they're
that's-
not. They're not officially
Yeah.
legacy.
And I mean, McNair's point
it's
is
much like
pretty much the key thing here, right? How do they behave in the war? That's literally the question that everyone has been asking in public.
yeah.
Do
it's
they
like,
side with Legacy or not?
I mean,
Sorry, Doug.
the relationship between Legacy and Fire, as I understand it, is actually very similar to the relationship the Imperium had with the Red Menace coalition when Red Menace were in period basis and they left period basis to go and create Fire with XIX and kind of get all the Russians back together. So, you know. Brisk, I think there's definitely some evidence. For example, Hanzo Viper, obviously the executive of Siberian Squads, who are very heavily Legacy aligned if they haven't already joined the coalition, which they were on track for 12 months ago. So, you know, I would assume that Siberian Squad wants in, and I would hope that other Legacy alliances want this fight, because if they actually come at us and bring the full might of Legacy, I think this could be a hell of a lot of fun for a few months.
Now, I'm not going, I'm going a little bit out on a limb here, but, when it comes to which side Army of Mangoes might come down on, like, if they'll even come down on a side, they might just sort of sit it out and just chill, It's entirely possible there. Like, the lines being drawn might, the battle lines being drawn might be so far away from them that they don't give a fuck, right?
The other
But
thing...
if they do, right, like, I don't think it would sit very well with the membership of AOM if they suddenly realized that they were fighting side by side with Fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
And also turning against Ranger Regiment.
There's another aspect to that you've got to remember, and the Chinese time zone has become such an established place in modern Eve that it's sometimes interesting to remember that actually Serenity started back up just a few months ago. And so I've not been keeping track too much on what's been going on over on Serenity, but I'd assume, given the fact that it's only been a couple of months, that a lot of people are still starting to get established and that there might be things still moving and shaking over there. And that a lot of the Chinese time zone alliances on Tranquility might also have accounts and alliances set up on Serenity that they could also be having to do things with. So there could be a question as to whether the Chinese time zone guys break in terms of their priorities on that front.
Just a short segue back to something Eric mentioned earlier. Is all of this some sort of morale boosting thing to stop the bleeding of members and actually entertain the masses?
Not on our side, at the very least.
No. I meant on the other side.
Like,
he was mentioning that their numbers have been dwindling and they've been suffering a bit. So maybe when you have a standing army and you don't use it, it fallows and rots away, right? So is this some sort of Willy Volt and it's a bit of a crusade?
Maybe. Like, this is just a fact of Eve, right? If you go too far, if you're a major coalition and you go too far towards the military side, you have people burning out a bunch. And if you go too far towards the crabbing side, you have a lot of the people who are there for fights going, well, I'm not getting fights. I'm not having fun in this game, so I'm going to leave. And that whole process is in large part what prompted the Imperium to start its Sigs and Squads kind of deployment a few years ago. So you'd have people like Space Violence going out, you'd have Reavers going out, Ghost Squad, all of these different time zone kind of locked groups would go out together, and then we saw the evolution of that with the GEF last year. And Test has kind of taken a bit of a different approach. They do some SIG stuff as far as I'm aware, but they've also done a lot of, test deployments.
Well,
and
reading chat, right? There is this issue with EVE that when there's no wars or actual on-scale activities happening, people tend to walk away, right? At least go and do breaks. A lot of what makes the game entertaining for many players is when there is large skirmishes or outright wars, right? And we've not had anything happening, so it's actually a little bit amazing that the numbers have still been moving up. But I just wonder if the whole drama for the sake of drama to avoid the summer slump is actually a thing, because if they don't commit fully, they're still going to win on the narrative, right? So I'm just thinking this is good for EVE, but it might not be necessarily good for any specific organization.
to be fair, I don't think many of the null blocks at this point, we care, we always care, but I think, there has always been a level of, if we don't have fights, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah,
as Mittens is fond of saying, and I agree, peace is hell.
Well, and maybe some people are overlooking the fact that when you're talking about the massive changes that CCP has been ramping up and rolling out, and the things that they have said about where they intend to move the game away from stagnation, this could be also important strategically. I'm not going to claim that anyone is slightly or bordering on non-information NDA breaches, but maybe someone knows something that we are not privy to yet, and this is actually something that makes sense, at least down the pipe, right?
I can hope.
I mean, that would be a bannable offence, though, would it not?
Well,
no,
only
you can't do anything if it's non-action or non-choice. There has to be evidence and proof. So non-information, you can't act on that, because the burden of proof. Of course, CCP is allowed to ban if they want to, but that they can't really do it without ample proof and get away with it. It would just make
also
them massively...
we've been down that road before,
I
and
think
it didn't go well.
Also, given banning the leadership of a hostile alliance during a war,
Well,
let's be honest, they probably aren't going to do that for the sheer fact of it would kill the war.
Just to explain.
Never mind the fact that alliance is going
on,
against goons.
Just to explain to chat if they didn't catch that, right? You can't ban, say, me for not investing money based on my knowledge. You can only ban me by investing money based on my knowledge, right? So there needs to be an actual piece of proof. If there's not a proof, inactivity is not bannable.
Sorry, I thought you meant more as in certain stuff had been given out that certain changes were coming down the line, and Test suddenly decides it's time for war.
I don't think it's anything like that.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying it is, but that's what I thought Caleb was referring to.
If you know that, say, moon mining is going to change, and then you allow them to be fallowed or allow yourself to be attacked, and because it's not going to be a meaningful loss, that is a non-action, non-information action, right? You're not acting on knowledge directly because you can't prove a negative.
That's definitely a harder one to prove, in CCP's case, than a we deployed to take the moons after we found out this change was coming.
There needs to be an obvious piece of evidence somewhere, either a paper trail or some completely statistically impossible thing. Like, oh, you took the 5 best systems in the universe after the patch that's coming up. Sure, that's obvious. That's bannable, right? Or potentially someone might actually get shot. But not doing something, you can't do anything about that. And it's funny because over in TIS in voice chat, we had this discussion. I think it was one of the PL guys that basically said that there was potentially in a very near future going to be drama about the fact that when goons reconsolidate and figure out where to live and what to do, they're going to be blamed for abusing and breaching NDA and using information from the CSM. Because
I just want to point out, Caleb, that we're going to be consolidating in Delve and rebuilding in Delve, where we've been for years and been fortifying already.
Well, again,
I believe Matani's made it clear enough on Twitter, Dirk, that Test has to kill us or we're going to come back.
Delve is goons, everywhere else is cartoons.
Well, Dirk, just to give you an example of a scenario that could be true and could be real. If there was knowledge that Delve was going to be a shithole for things like value and resources 6 months down the line, right? And then let me finish the tinfoil, right? And then in the upper echelons, they had agreed that Vili and friends were going to declare war, so there would be an excuse and an incentive for the goons to actually move out and take something else. That would be a scenario that was a possibility. It's complete tinfoil, but it's definitely something that would be very Eve-esque.
Yeah, I think that's a bit too tinfoily. Like, Legacy are going to invade a region that they know is going to be bad because of an agreement made between Vili and the goons on the CSM, so that the goons can get out of Delve.
Not everyone would be in the know.
Like,
not necessarily. Not everyone would need to be in the know. I'm just saying.
Why would Legacy want to take that space if it's going to be bad? Why would Legacy not just deploy their supers against the good space instead?
Well, it's about convincing someone. If when you're talking tinfoil and when you're talking conspiracies, by definition, not everyone will be included and being in the know.
Okay, so to answer, all of the people in Twitch chat who are basically like, wait, we're leaving Delve. Why would we want to go out of Delve? We don't. Delve is goons. Everything else is just like, yeah, fuck you. But Caleb was going on a really weird tinfoil tangent, as he does, and as this is a show where, all opinions are at least heard, if not considered as decent, we let him go on these tangents.
look at Enko. The Rakapa Sino is
up. With some very good ideas. Caleb also comes up with some very dumb ideas.
Well, the point is that you have to take the thought into consideration, because scaling down activity in Delve and still living there, and then having incentive to take a new space because it is massively more valuable. All of these things are in the consideration because, as opposed to every other group in EVE, the actual number crunchers in goons are really good at their job, and they can actually estimate between and discern between actives and passives and actual income streams. And if you do not have, if your income stream dries up, you will eventually just shrivel and fucking die. So you need to have those things working, and anything strategically is on the table to make sure that things like that works, right? I kept trying to explain to people why scarcity was a massive fucking issue, because I was being given the numbers from Delve. The fact that the carrying capacity of Delve was only being used in the realm of between 25 and 35%, right? that was the level of usage to feed that entire group, right? And it was only Delve. And
So,
I'm just saying that if
sorry to jump in. Sorry to jump in. I'm just going to go get a drink while Caleb does his normal scarcity talk.
No, I'm just saying that it is important. If that thing got flipped on its head and CCP grew a brain, then you would need to change your fucking strategy on empire building. And since the Imperium is the only empire building, everyone else is just fucking farmsteading, then it would change. Something would be done, and everything strategically would be on the table.
Yeah, to be fair, like, we were perpetually, or at the very least the finance team, were perpetually trying to get people to stay in Delve and rat and mine in Delve. Because if we were rolling, if we were, well, this was before the mining changes and all the rest of it, but if we were rolling the mining belts in the anomalies as effectively as we could have been, you know, with a small group of my friends, we had somewhere in the region of, like, there were 4 of us, and we'd throw out, 20 Rorquals on a belt and just roll them continuously when we had days where we were all there. And so, if you were rolling belts like that, if you were cycling anomalies efficiently, you could just go and go and go in Delve. But it was such a struggle to get people to kind of condense into Delve that way. People wanted to be in Quarius or Period Basis or Fountain because the systems there weren't very populated. And these people just wanted, to be left to themselves to gain their own whatever. And I could make real life analogies, but I'm not going to because that would lead to a very major soapbox, and you are not drawing me into this, Caleb.
No. I'm just going to ask, do you guys have those weird competition things where you can win the access to, like, a Radio Shack for 30 minutes, everything you can fucking grab and get out in a trolley? Do you guys have things like that? Because that's pretty much what Delve was, right? It's like, get everything because everything is fucking free.
But yeah, kind of. So yeah, like, we weren't using Delve to capacity, and we were still breaking the MER month after month after month. I mean, INN used to do MER roundups. You know what happened to those MER roundups? Well, Eric went AFK for one, but he stopped writing them because for somewhere in the region of, like, 18 to 20 months, like, it was just goons win again. That was it.
And just to everyone that sits there and kind of laughs at my claim that say moving from one side of the map to another or completely expanding into other areas, this has happened before. It's not that fucking out of reason. It's not like things like that does not happen in EVE. It does, and historically it has. So if there was a incentive and a really good reason, it could and would happen. Of course, you can say, well, Tozzy would shit bricks and stuff. Sure, but if it was necessary and you showed the numbers, it would be done. And of course, this is in this day and age, because of scale and size, it would be done very differently than it had been in the past, because it is a much tougher logistic nightmare to do something like that, and also a strategic nightmare. But if value creation was a factor and scarcity was real and meaningful, and they had crunched the numbers, something like moving and reconsolidating somewhere else and in a new way would actually happen. It's because goons just do this. They do the right thing. Well, they usually fail first and then they do the right thing, but that's the whole failing upward stuff. It's just, it happens. They are the ones that adapt correctly to the changes in the game.
I mean, I've got to say though, real quick, when you were going on about how there might be advanced knowledge of the game from the CSM, or from certain CSM members at least, and how that might be being acted on in such a way that it could be encompassed and not picked up on, I really just my immediate thought went to Fozzy because Jesus fucking Christ, if some CSM member directed their alliance or coalition to do a thing because Fozzy was on its way out and something better was coming,
Exactly.
I would love that. I've been railing about Fozzy for about 2.5 years now, and still, you know,
we've gotten hints that they promised that come end of this year there will be. Yes.
No.
Yes,
No,
we
they said that there would not be a change to SOV before the end of this year.
That's not what I'm saying. If you let me finish, they said that there would be massive changes to things that involves veterans and veteran play, right? Come the end of the year. That's pretty much what Rai said. And just if they changed SOV, they would not pre-announce it. They would pre-announce it to the CSM, but they would definitely not even hint at. They would actually deny any such thing if they were intending to do it. Unless they were complete idiots, because
I don't know, because they took a hell of a lot of backlash at EVE London for saying it, along with the other crap they said. That would
they said
be
a lot
one
of
way.
crap at EVE London.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that would have possibly been one way to win the crowd back. Even just slightly. But they didn't, they just buried themselves more.
Strategically, you cannot announce something like SOV changes until they are almost completely ready, because you're going to mess up the strategic gameplay completely. So you would always deny until it was ready.
I mean, I get you.
I mean, that is true. Like, I mean, if you, for example, if you're going to change or augment SOV, so it's a lot more advantageous to the defenders than to the attackers. Like, for example, we all know that Fozzy SOV is more, welcoming to the attacker than the defender, because, you have to have a person there SOV wanding from the alliance that owns the SOV, not their allies or anything like that, right? So you need to have that. Whereas it can be anybody SOV wanding to take the SOV, right? So obviously, just like that favors the attacker rather than the defender. If for whatever reason certain people in the CSM, find out that there's going to be a change that's going to basically reduce the potency of that, then that might end up, that could very well influence them to maybe potentially attack something that they were thinking about attacking, but doing it much earlier.
Take a very concrete example.
Sorry. Get a station break here for Romulus. There's going to be a drifter attack. Don't worry. This world will be over.
Don't joke about that.
No. I will joke about it because they can get a taste of their own last.
This is tied into the potential soft changes that would be coming, right? Because of the fact that NPCs will potentially aggress against structures. Bringing in a soft system that is based on structure points would pretty much make sense right now, right? I'm not saying
Caleb,
I'm just saying
no,
that strategically,
it's not happening.
It is. Okay. My point is that it is the correct thing to bring in. And if you went to a structure point system where each size structure gave you specific points, and that was part of the SOV war, and you had to challenge that, and there would be different points for different states, so whether it's fueled or not. My point is, in that situation, you would want the proliferation of structures that are potentially a benefit to be removed. So you
bring back pause warfare, pause SOV, bring it back.
Pause SOV,
pause SOV.
But
I think there's a lot of people who would hate that. Literally hate that.
That's just what he suggested.
You know what? We've got enough keep stars in Delve that the points value for most of that space would be a pain in the ass.
It's like landing on Boardwalk and Park Place, baby. Pay up.
But if you think about it, right? If it was all the points for all the different structures, from just a poker analogy, chip king point of view, to get some of those chips distributed out or removed from the fucking table, you would have to start a war.
I mean, I know we all laugh at PozSoft, but do we not remember what happened just a month or two ago, where we had the largest fight in years over a Poz?
That was more than a month or two ago.
I thought it was
it
crystal
really?
clear to everybody.
Yeah, that was a
pro-pause.
little while ago now.
Oh god, time's just gone so fast.
I am pro-pause, by the way. Pro-pause.
I mean, welcome to the dumpster fire of 2020.
Dumpster fire. Now we got Saharan sand. Alrighty, well, gentlemen, it is 2:03 already. How the time
Jesus
flies.
Christ.
Jesus Christ. We got to, we won't change the mug until they kill something more sentimental. Okay. That's
Yeah, like the
right.
question was, will Brisk start using a mug with crossed out dinos now? And the whole reason that Brisk hates cones is that they killed his they killed the widow that he was very attached to. This is a story that he's told on here and many other places. So, they'd have to kill something of more value to Brisk than his widow.
So there is a question. There is pine cones. I like, pine cones, terrible. Somebody's asking when the Brisk show is in 2 hours or so, approximately. The Meta show will be here, hopefully. They're not off today. And I'm giving them a little thingy. So there it is. Brisk.
The Brisk show in 2 hours.
It's very brisk.
Show.
It's not even the Meta show anymore.
Its
It's just
name?
it's
not
just
Meta
the
show?
Brisk show.
It's the Brisk show. Okay.
So think about this. The intro to the Brisk show really needs to be somebody drinking Brisk tea, not Nestea, Brisk tea, and just falling backward into the pool, which I'm sure Brisk has seen that commercial. So there you go. Oh, Asher and Dark Shines. So that'll be a good show.
Fun
Excellent.
Ooh, Shines is always fun.
I'm actually gonna go and plug Pando's Twitch as well, real quick. Last night, Pando did a discussion with Asher and Kendar, who apparently is kind of back playing the game, kind of waiting to see what happens with these big conflicts. So he did an FC chat session last night. I'm gonna try and dig up his Twitch link real quick and just plug that, because I didn't manage to listen to all of it, but I did listen to some of it, and it really was quite interesting to listen to some of the stuff they were saying. Obviously Kendar is old military leadership in the Imperium, and so he had an opinion on the way on the way things were going, and the potential stuff that Test had that the Imperium possibly doesn't anymore. And so it was really quite interesting.
I'm trying to
find the VOD link now. Yeah.
Why didn't it ask me if I wanted to let Newslines post that? That's strange.
Okay, there is the link for the FC chat with Asher and Kendar last night, and it was really interesting.
You know what would really make me excited about this war? I'm already excited about the war. But what would make you really excited is if Mr. V came back.
Mr. V's back? What?
No, I didn't say he was
If
back.
Mr. V came back.
What I said was it would be very exciting if he did.
Oh, right. Yeah, you had me like...
I'm not trying to create any rumors here, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying that'd be exciting, because I really enjoyed being in his fleet.
I don't think
said-
Kendar comes back to GSF, unfortunately. I'd love to have him back, but I don't think he's ever going to come back. He's enjoying like his kind of smallish subcap fleet stuff too much at the minute, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
I highly doubt, if he did come back, I highly doubt I'd be able to get into European Union for in like a year or so. Like I literally applied for that and I never got in, which was really fucking annoying.
EG is kind of like very dormant. It's very much more of a social place than anything else at the minute.
No, I know, but like when he was running EG and like acting. And
Kendall
stuff,
ran
like, I tried-
SV, not EG.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Kendall. I'm talking about.
Mr. V. Fair. Sorry. No.
Sorry, dude.
Mixing people up. And just to add to the confusion,
It's just been a long day.
I did see Shadu last weekend in Meta Show chat, basically saying he's back. If this war's really going on, he wants to be involved and doesn't care what side. And it was just like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I think Eve is very war and drama hungry, and I think every side is willing to take a few hits just to get some drama going and get this thing off. I don't think it's going to teeter out. I do think it's going to end up to be at least some sort of hot war. The question is how long it's going to last, right? And I do hope that there's some fun stuff in the pipe, and that people have some strategically interesting goals. My personal wish is that the high-sec Blue Donut is potentially cancelled, and that we can designate the Big Red Boat to be permanently buzzing the tower with fleets.
Alrighty, gentlemen, let's go around the horn for one last thing. Who should we start with? You, Caleb? Let's start with you, Caleb.
Well, mine is easy. I'm a little bit miffed that I didn't get to talk about my adventures and fun in Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm killing squirrels and raccoons and badgers and eating them, cooking them on campfires. It's awesome.
Fucking console squirrel.
He's basically killing all of the nice woodland creatures that
Bambi,
you see on those
Bambi?
those
Did
on
ya?
those
ya?
cute kind of things. Yeah.
Did you
I'm
kill
going to
Bambi?
start killing all the bison very soon.
Oh, bison. That's terrible. It's like he's so mean.
I knew you were part of the problem.
All right, August, you're up, brother.
Seriously, guys, it is practically a hunters and trappers simulator. It's really, really, really fun.
All right, Barghost, you're up, brother.
I guess it's nice seeing old faces back, right? Shadu, Kendar. It would be great to see V back.
Yeah.
I say
got to think,
Kendar is old, but
Killer Bee is back and doing stuff apparently, at least a little bit. Other old names that I've seen over the past few days crop up in a couple of different conversations in different places. Lenny Kravitz is apparently lurking about again.
Did he at least get?
I thought he wanted to get away.
The last war.
Yeah, I thought he wanted to get away, but apparently he's been back in a couple of different Discords the last week or so. So we'll see how that goes.
To clarify for chat, yes, Lenny was banned. Then he was unbanned. I don't know if he was neg-walleted.
I think he was neg-walleted.
Yeah. Because I was going to make a joke about how that might be an issue if he wasn't, but it won't be.
Alrighty, Dirk, you're up.
I'm just gonna say that I'm really hoping this all kicks off properly. Like, if this ends up being a bait and switch and they just sit waiting for somebody to come at them after what they've been saying, I'm just gonna be disappointed. Like, they've spent so many years trying to build up and show that they're really a big power, and so I really want this all to kick off. I hope to hell that people come to Aquarius and maybe Delve as well, because I think there's a hell of a lot of potential for some big fights if people commit, and it's something that Eve sorely needs and has done for a long time. So yeah, I just hope it comes. I've been waiting for this for years.
McLeod.
I don't think I actually have anything, to be fair. I was gonna say some non-Eve related stuff, and then we all started talking about Eve, so it was like, oh crap, all right. Well, it's just interesting to see Intel getting fucked over.
You're talking real life.
I mean, it's not a happy thing. I mean, that hurts people. I can't believe you're happy about that. Hurts people.
Complacency's a bitch, dude.
It's terrible. Terrible. Alrighty. My one last thing is thank you, everybody, for all the follows. It's much appreciated. Thank you for watching the show. Hope you had a good time. This is the most Eve we have talked about in any one show in, I don't know,
months.
4 months. You know?
More than that.
Because shit's happening.
Since
Can't
last
wait.
year, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we want, and this is kind of why we stopped talking Eve, because there just wasn't much going on.
There was nothing going on. And CCB certainly... So one thing, you know, CCB should take away from this show is CCB can't create content that's enjoyable to people. Let the people do it and give the people the tools in order to create the content, and things will happen. So it's very exciting. Thank you, everybody. And we are out of here as soon as I push the button. We'll see everybody next week. Same time, same bat channel.